Hey everyone. So this is a video about a article that I wrote a long time ago, and it means quite a bit to me. Giving up dressing in the past and being around people that do give up dressing, I definitely I guess I wrote an article and I just want to put it live for you guys to see. Unfortunately, I'm not going to look quite as good because I have to put on glasses to read, but hopefully you guys will stay in and watch this with me. As I wrote this initially, it was about a year ago. It was Easter weekend. One thing about getting older is you have a time to reflect on and see your decisions come full cycle. I have to say that first off, I've never had to come out. I just haven't. I haven't had to tell, people. I've told people, but I haven't had to. It's a desire. I haven't had to kick open that closet door and just lose family, friends, be ridiculed in school, physical violence. I was never hurt over this. I grew up in a highly religious household. I grew up in the same church my father did, that his father did, that his father started 100 years ago. I was raised on a cattle ranch, and I was taught that I would have to strive my whole life to be average. That's not okay. I was the fat band geek in high school. I was the most famously unpopular kid in school. Everybody knew me, but it was for all the wrong reasons. There was like 1,000 people in my high school, and this was in the late 90s. My name's still known. I still avoid the town as much as I can because people still know me, still call me by my undesirable nicknames, and I don't want those memories. I've had this yearning to be inside me my entire life. I've actually worn girls' clothes since age 3 or 4. I stole my aunt's makeup when I was a teenager when I'd stay the night at my cousin's house. In 7th grade, I was already 5'9" and 165 pounds. I would pray every single night that I could just stop growing, I could be done, and I could live as a female. I have other plans. Life had other plans, and here I am, the size that I am. I'm 6'2". I'm not a small person. After high school, I couldn't get out of the town even. Instead of the best years of your life, I stayed at home. I went to a community college and I worked. I didn't do anything to feed myself, to embrace myself. I went to Michigan for 2 summers. I got out, I got a taste of freedom, and I couldn't help myself. I needed more. I wanted more. Easter 2002, April, I had a chance. I'd been working 2 jobs at home. I had saved up a ton of money, and I wasn't paying rent because I was still living with my parents. I had collected heels, wigs, clothes, makeup. I went to Denver, Colorado for a weekend. I got shapewear. I got everything I could to improve myself. I paid for a makeover. I had a friend of a friend hook me up. I thought I looked amazing. I went to a local bar and I went to a drag show and I had fun. I had a ton of fun. I felt like I belonged. Unfortunately, on the second night of being there, I got that feeling that I know a lot of you out there have had. The shame and the guilt, the I'm a man feeling, the this is wrong feeling. You might describe it a different way. It was gut-wrenching. I felt empty and alone despite being surrounded by a ton of people. I ran back to my friend's house. I didn't even wash my face. I ran as much as I could. It was 2 a.m. I just left as fast and as far as I could. I drove over 200 miles that night in that terror and the pain. Back home, back to something safe. I attended my Easter Sunday church services that day. I don't bash religion, but I consider myself religious. I just got the message I thought that I needed at that time. I felt redeemed. I felt safe. But safe isn't always sane. I took every item that I had, cross-dressing, the wigs, the heels, the padding, TV shows, tapes, all these things. And I got rid of it as quick as I could. Everything went into a 50-gallon metal oil barrel, soaked in gasoline, layered stuff and gasoline and more stuff and more gas. Had fire. There was smoke. There was a lot of smoke. Foam padding smoke and chemical smoke and burnt synthetic wig smoke. I watched that fire for a long time. I made sure it was gone. All gone. Emasculated. It was gone. I swore I was never going to dress again. And I didn't. For over a year. I got engaged, moved to Denver, had a good job. I worked at a juvenile correctional facility. I was living this manly lifestyle, but I felt horrible inside. I'd spend my days off in online chat rooms embracing my mental female side. I had a fiance at that time that knew that I dressed. It pulled her apart. She admitted after we broke up years later that she imagined me going through her closet and trying on her stuff while I wasn't there. I never did. I didn't dress while I was with her. Ultimately, we separated and I found solace in renting a room. From there, I found a Mary Kay lady, a thrift store, maybe a new wig from eBay. Roughly 18 months after my former self was left to flames and ash, she was born anew. A different name, a different perspective. The rest is history. Within a month, I had met someone at a bar that I know will stand beside me through anything. They're popular in the family in Denver. If you GLBT, you're gonna know this person probably. And I don't know if they know how much I respect them for giving me that evening. I'm sorry that we haven't been able to continue to grow closer over the years. I've rotated through jobs. I know I've lost at least one because of my pro cross-dressing viewpoints, my pro LGBT lifestyle. I've met hundreds of local cross-dressers in and around Denver, and I've met thousands more online worldwide. In 2004, I met the love of my life. Later on this year, after 9 years, we're going to get married. There's been things that have caused it not to happen yet, but it's going to. We're going to have children. We're going to raise them with pride and respect for themselves and others. They're not going to need to be popular or athletic. They just need to be understanding and respectful of everyone. If they aren't popular because they won't hate on somebody, even better. As I wrote this, it was the 10-year mark of that weekend in Denver and the weekend I purged. 10 years removed from that fire, coming back with a message that it does improve, it does get better. Embrace yourself and don't hold back. In my travels, I've seen far too many people, friends I've developed deep relationships with, they've lost everything because they didn't embrace themselves. I have friends from the ages of 25 to 55 that have lost wives and kids because they couldn't come to terms with themselves. Don't hold back. The world is ready and open and willing to provide you the support. You don't have to go to the clubs or bars if that's not your scene. There's support groups, there's social groups, there's people out there, there's even YouTube that can help. You know, these are things that I wish 10 years ago I had had access to. Please do not purge your stuff. After 10 years, there's things I still want. Box it up, give it to a friend, lose it if you have to. You'll be happy when you come back. It doesn't matter whether you're, fresh to cross-dressing at 3 years old, or you're 100 years old and you've done it never or once, or you've done it everywhere in between. It's part of you. It's in your blood and it's in your head, and it's not going to go away. And you won't be happy with it being away. It doesn't matter if you didn't start cross-dressing until you're in college. You're no different than somebody that hid and had to hide until they were 45 and become unhappy with themselves and lost out on their whole life. You know what? If you're passable, great. If you're not passable, great. There's going to be people out there that'll embrace you and love you. Why would you deny yourself something that's going to make you a more rounded, better person? It does get better. You just don't realize it.